Is there still a debate about free weights versus machines and one being better for strength and hypertrophy over another, or has that been put to bed at this point?
There's a little bit of a debate. As far as muscle growth is concerned, among the people that look at the technical data, there's not much of a debate because the data shows that free weights and machines cause a usually statistically undifferential amount of growth. Like it's just the same. Growth, strength, it's all the same, more or less as far as we can tell. And most champion bodybuilders, if you told them like, is it free weights or machines? They're like, what? It's like saying to someone like rice or pasta, like, how many carbs do you need, bro? Like, it's all same, you know? Or like, there's a whole area of YouTube and kind of similar space that you and I are in, health space, of like quack doctors that are like, don't eat apples, and eat only blue pears or whatever. You're like, I think you're having a mental crisis and you should talk to someone about it. There's no bad apple for you. There's no good apple. It's all good. And so it's kind of that situation with general muscle growth training and general strength training for machines and free weights. All great. No downsides, no upsides. There's one question still left a little bit unanswered, and that's for high-level competitive sport athletes, wrestlers, track athletes, basketball players, football players. Do free weights offer a more natural movement pattern that replicates the kind of force vectors you would see in the sport? And does the added requisite for, albeit not a lot, but some kind of stabilization while producing force transfer to better improvements in athletic ability versus someone who trains on machines? They have the muscle, they have the strength, but maybe it's a little bit more disjointed of an application. There's some nuance there. Probably 90%, 95% is going to be the same outcome. Is there a 5 to 10% difference if I have a team full of pro athletes, pro NFL football players? Do I want them hack squatting or do I want them barbell squatting if I only have to choose one? Which is ridiculous because, it's one of my least favorite questions ever. I'm kidding. It doesn't ever piss me off, but I think it's an absurd question of like, if you had to do one exercise the rest of your life, I'm like, I'm sorry, if I was on a desert island, no, I would not be building a squat rack. I would be building a fucking help sign with the rocks. That's all I would be doing and begging to God to please don't let me die here alone. So there's this needless juxtaposition because most gyms have both, but currently my take is I would probably marginally pick the free weight stuff for athletic performance. Am I confident in that assertion? No. Do I think you'll get amazing results if you just train hard with machines through a full range of motion that really transfer well to sport training? Yeah, probably.
This is that's a notion, right? Where I feel like I've definitely changed my thinking. I used to think probably like many, that free weights were much better.
I used to be on that camp, dogmatically so.
I don't feel that way anymore. I mean, I'll go I'll have a lift sesh that's entirely on like machines, and and I feel great about it at this point. I'm also not an athlete, but
you look athletic to me.
Thanks, brother.
I'm just hitting on it at this point. So a lot of times an interesting way to go about it is for people who are really one side of the aisle or the other, you can greatly benefit from conversing with them and asking them, so why do you think that's the case? And what does or does not come out of their mouths is often very instructive, or instructive by way of absence. So someone's like, dude, free weights all the way. For athletes, free weights all the way. You're like, I got you. So what's the big advantage of free weights versus machines? And they're like, stability, bro. And you're like, I got you. That makes sense. But athletes who do moves like a triple jump or a lateral drop in wrestling, aren't they kind of really taking care of that stability component in the 19 hours of training they do for their sport? You bring a gymnast into the gym, you're not going to be like, all right, we're going to work on stability. What are you, out of your mind? This girl can walk on one foot on a fucking, get out of here. This is the most stable person you'll ever meet. There is nothing in the gym that's going to challenge her stability. You must be losing it. What does she really need? She needs stronger legs. Does the hack squat give you strong legs? Yes. So how much stability can we really be training in the gym? Now, it's a little bit of a different question if you're looking at teen and child athletes. For them, a basic competence, and most beginners to lifting, I think there's a very good argument for a basic competence with your own body and free objects around it. If you can do a squat and a deadlift, you can sure shit use any machine you want. But if you use a bunch of machines and then you get in the real world and do actual lifting, you might be like, whoa. But if you're an athlete, you talk to someone who's really gung-ho, pro free weights and anti-machines, that question of, do you really think that teeny little bit more of practice stabilizing against heavy resistance has such a huge ROI over their already insanely apt and high volume training in their own sport, which they produce high forces all the time and have to stabilize? Do you think there's a big difference there? Most people, if you get them to open up their minds enough, will be like, honestly, man, yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it like that in a little while. And maybe they'll have some good arguments. And you're like, damn, you're right. Free weights are the shit. Every time I've talked to someone about that, including older versions of myself, I can't bring a real compelling argument. Now, if you're an Olympic weightlifter, if you're a strongman, if you're a powerlifter, it's your sport to move free weights around. Machines have much more limited value to you. But if your goal with if your goal with training athletes is to make their muscles bigger and stronger in the gym, and then let them learn to use those new, bigger, stronger muscles in their sport, the dichotomy between free weights and machines falls to nuanced at best and no dichotomy at all at worst.
Super interesting. Yeah, I love using machines. I used to sort of like in the don't let your knees go over your toes camp of notions was the idea that, like, you know, if you're benching on the Smith press, for example, on the Smith machine.
You're a criminal.
Yeah.
They let you out with his children in society. How are you out here doing this?
I love benching on the Smith machine.
Yeah. You're a loser. I have no other way to say it. I was going to be polite, but I can't say it. Yeah. There's a quote by a famous strength coach, excellent strength coach, by the way, Joe DeFranco, I believe is his name. He said, my best use, something that I'm paraphrasing, but pretty close. So my best use case for a Smith machine is if you could put it on an athlete's back and have them squat it. Basically, like something that puts you in one track of motion and stabilizes you is just inappropriate for athletes to train. And if that's a notion, that's an idea that carries a lot of weight among a lot of people. And there might be some truth to that, but in reality, however you got big, strong muscles, if you're an MMA fighter, you weigh 215 pounds, you're ripped, you're tall, you're doing a thing, you're a pro, you train an MMA technique all the time, and you're in the ring with me, and I see your bulging muscles and you're throwing strikes real competently, man, I'm in a lot of deep shit. If I find out that you actually built those big, strong muscles with like Smith machine bench versus like dumbbells, I'm not like you sit down between rounds, your coach is washing your mouth out, you like can't see. He's like, hey, this guy trains on the Smith. You're like, we got him, coach. He just come in underhook. That's it. He's dead. He still have the same fundamental problem because all the technique training that he's doing is taking care of that stability, no problem. Now, could he be a little bit better if he also used free weights? The answer to that is maybe, but it's just not a certain yes like a lot of us used to think it was.
That makes a ton of sense. It's a great relief to hear you say that.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.